Pals from my Thermomix adventures, and I'm just going to do a focaccia bread in both the TM6 and the TM7 because some people have been asking how the TM7 holds, given that it doesn't have this back the TM6 does. So what it has is a locking mechanism in the base and the lid. So when I am kneading dough, it locks it in. The same recipe is on both the TM6 and the TM7. So we'll press start cooking and start. On both it says lightly grease a large bowl and have a piece of cling film or wrap available to put over the top. Okay, on the TM7, here's where we start to see a difference. The TM6 comes up with add your 500 grams of strong white bread flour. And on the TM7, we've got a tick list because it all goes in the one step.
Now I add the bread flour.
Then if I click next on the TM6, it tells me to put sugar, instant yeast, olive oil, and I'm clicking next each time, water, salt, and then put the lid on. So I've put my water, sugar, and yeast in a little Pyrex jar. It's the same amount in both, and then I've just let it ferment a little bit. This shows me that my yeast is active. So you don't waste all that flour. If I put the yeast and the sugar in there with the water and it didn't rise, I wouldn't know why it hasn't risen. I could guess it was my yeast. But this way I know the yeast is good and I'm not going to waste any flour. So one in there. One in there. And then we've got a teaspoon of salt. Tick, tick, tick. So the only thing I haven't put in yet is olive oil. The weighing scales come up on my TM7, just as they do on my TM6. Again, tare if you want to go to 0.
I add olive oil to both.
This is much quieter and it's not shaking. So tiny wobble. Next, next. Knead it for 2 minutes. So this is where we might see more of a wobble. I press play to get going on the TM7. I turn the dial on the TM6, so. Way more wobble on the TM6. I don't think there's much difference in that. This is not making really any noise at all. This really shows the noise difference. Look at the difference.
No, it's actually crazy.
Okay, next, transfer dough to the bowl, next. Okay, and now we're going to let it rise. Let's have a look. Both look the same, to be fair. So it's supposed to be a sticky dough. I'm going to put it into an oiled bowl. I'm going to let them rise. I will mark which one's which so we know if there's a difference in the dough, but I mean there really isn't because it's been done in the same way. But significantly quieter, no wobble in particular to the TM7 over the TM6. They both sort of moved in a similar fashion.
Put your dough in an oiled bowl and cover with cling film and leave to rise for at least an hour until doubled in size.
Noise comparison. Both my Thermomixes are doing a pre-clean. You can't hear this one. I'm right up to it, can't hear it. If I stop, let's just stop the TM6. That's the TM7. It's going, but there's no noise at all. It's going. So that's the motor sound. That's amazing, the difference in sound.
Once your dough has finished proving, put it into your baking tray, sprinkle with water and olive oil, and just pop your fingers into it to cause some dimples. Then add your rosemary and sprinkle with salt on top, and you're ready to go in the oven. You should wait for it to cool before cutting it. Obviously, I couldn't wait, but this is what it looks like. We had some just with olive oil and vinegar and then made some bruschetta.